you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, go!
Stadium Series is kind of its own entity here. I don't think there's anything like it out there. Gut-wrenching obstacles back to back to back.
We get to go run in places that people dream of coming, and we get to be on the field, which is just so super cool.
Run around here like the pros do for a day. This is sweet.
It was amazing.
It was a hell of a race, man.
What a better place to do a sprint.
Exactly.
You can do so much more than you think you can.
Never quit, never give up.
That's right.
Get off the couch and have some fun. Let's go.
It's a scorching day in Dallas, Texas, and time for Spartan Races to show their skills and bring their heat to the city. We are live at AT&T Stadium for the Spartan Stadium Series, and I'm here with my co-host, Kevin Gelotti. We got a chance to look at the course yesterday. Kevin, what do you think is going to happen tomorrow?
You know, today it's going to be a tough day. We have 7 in and out stages. Some of those will be stepping out into 95-degree weather. Real barbed wire, which is pretty much unseen at a stadium. Tons of steps, tons of flat places in the alleyways to make long, hard, fast runs. It's going to be an interesting course, and it's the second race of the 3-race series, so there's a lot on the line right now to make a move in the points. And
there's a lot of changes in this race. For this season, they're doing 15 burpees, and in the 15 burpees, everything's set at 15. It's not 30, it's not 10, it's only 15. They get to play in this amazing arena. It's the world's biggest dome structure. It's 292 feet tall from the field to the roof, which can open or close in about 12 minutes in case the weather gets crazy. But, of course, it is a hot day, so they don't need the doors open on this one.
Yeah.
It's going to be 96 or something like that.
Yeah, it's an incredible stadium. I mean, when you walk around and see what's been set up on the infield, what's been set up outside, I mean, Spartan Race bought the heat today in terms of setting up something that's going to be pretty compelling. There's a lot of places to make moves, and we are going to have that gauntlet. I'm looking down at it now. It's going to be rough.
Well, I think it's amazing that you can fit 3.6 miles into this space. We've got 2 million square feet of space in here, and they're cramming all of this distance and a ton of obstacles into what from the outside looks just like a big dome, but if you get to the inside of it, it's layers and layers like an onion of stuff to play in for the obstacle athletes.
Easy to get lost, but I walked the course yesterday, and it's well marked. Shouldn't have any problems. Everything's clear. We'll have people directing, and you know the amount of steps they're going to climb on this concrete. This is going to beat people's legs up.
You said something interesting this morning, which was we got a chance to walk around, and with about 4 miles of running, what ended up happening was we have really sore legs. And Kevin, you're used to running races that can be 20 miles without as sore legs, but walking on concrete, that is tough.
Yeah, so my name's Kevin Gelotti, and I work with Spartan Race, and I travel around and do all of the various Spartan races. Probably 70 total, maybe 18 races this year. I just came back from Italy for their national championship. So I know what's going on here. I may not do many of the stadiums, but I understand what's happening.
I'm Ian Adamson. I'm the president of World OCR, and I get to work with all the brands, including Spartan Race. I'm absolutely excited to be here with Kevin. Kevin has a world of experience. It's incredible what he's done over the years, including being a professional triathlete and then one of the very early athletes to come into OCR. So his depth of experience is going to give us an amazing overview of what the athletes are thinking and feeling. I'm really excited to see what happens.
Well, it's going to scorch their legs. You were talking about the fact that yesterday we just walked the course, and last night when I went out for my own personal run, my legs were hammered just from walking all of this concrete. Current conditions, it's going to be a high of 95 today. Looks about 76 to 80 right now. And so the athletes are going to run in and out 7 times from this stadium. So you're going to go from pretty cool conditions inside to totally blistering heat outside, and some of it's in the direct sun. So that's going to be a heck of a transition to have to make in and out and in and out. And
well, the high of 95 is a little misleading because you walk out these doors, especially on the sunny side, and we're getting reflected heat. So what the athletes feel is they're getting the solar gain from the sun itself, they're getting the reflected heat off these big glass doors and things, and they're also feeling the temperature of the concrete, which during the day heats up. So by the afternoon, I'm expecting that these temperatures will be well north of 100 degrees.
Yeah, with the humidity, I mean, you can feel it. You wake up in the morning in these conditions, and you can just feel how oppressive it is. Imagine just racing in it. You know, with the stadiums, you get a little bit of reprieve because you get to come inside, but it's so taxing when you step out and do, you know, the spear throws outside, the hoist is outside, the Z-wall is outside, barbed wire is outside, and that's real barbed wire, which is just not seen in a stadium, so that's pretty cool. So people that have only done outside races, they're going to get a chance now to get some of that barbed wire, which you just don't see here in these stadiums.
Well, there are some other differences as well, because people who do the typical cross-country races, if they do the spear throw, for instance, they're used to having a hay bale.
Yep.
Now, the hay bale, of course, as everyone knows who throws a spear, has a little variability in it. In this race, they use foam, so compacted foam, which also has changes to it. So let's walk through the course briefly. So the first thing that's going to happen is they're going to start down on the field. They're going to run across the edge of the Cowboys football field, which will be quite fun for them. Then they're going to hit a 6-foot wall.
But let me say something really quick. That start is going to be pretty rough because that's about a 100-yard dash to a whole shot set of steps. So just right off the bat, this is no joke. These guys are going to have, and girls are going to have to hammer to get to that first set of steps because you literally go from 10 yards wide to 2 feet wide in a matter of 100 yards. So the start gate is all the way downfield to us. So down, if you're looking at the screen, you can see down by the assault bikes on the right-hand side. Inside, they'll be coming through that up towards us, towards this side, which would be towards the multi-rig. And then right down past the multi-rig, they're going to be making a left-hand turn into the stadium.
That's right. So if you look at the helmet down on the touchdown line on the far end of the field, athletes are corralled over there. You can see the little corral and the timing clock just glowing red. It's basically a whole shot. It's like mountain biking and a lot of other races. They sprint, if they're smart enough, all the way to the stairs, and then they're in the single track. So the single track is the stairs. They're going to wind their way up the stairs, and then they're going to head up a whole lot of stairs, up and down, which of course is going to fry a bunch of people's legs. Then they're going to go into the course and start into the obstacles.
And the interesting thing about the steps is the ones that we previewed, you know, it's not that they're very tall, but they kind of mess with your stride because there's little baby steps that are shorter and longer. So it's not a conventional step you might think of in your house. They're elongated, so it makes the stride a little bit longer, but you're not having to lift your foot up as high to get up the step.
That's right. Another thing about this course is that that's not the only hole shot. These places are tight. As you can see, they'll be running through the stadium stairs, and that means that each time they run through a road, they're effectively in a single track again. This is a strategic thing for the athletes. The question is, how do they deal with that? And we have Kevin down on the field. So Kevin
Donahue.
This is Kevin Donahue here down in the west end zone here at AT&T Stadium here in Dallas. I know that's a mouthful, but this whole stadium is a mouthful. They could fit 100,000 people here, and they make $100 million a year on just showing this place in tours. It is one of the best sports complexes I've ever been in, and we get to run a Spartan race here today. They've had everything here from Super Bowls to the national championship to every kind of rock concert you could think of, WrestleMania, and even the Final Four. They put a basketball court down here. So it's an incredible stage that we're going to have here for the Spartan Sprint here today, and the athletes themselves are going to be pretty special too. We have Bracken Crocker, who's going to be defending his lead in the Stadium Series today after his big win in Citi Field, New York a few months ago. There's also some very big heavy hitters that are coming down here as well, such as Roebuck Killian. Now, Robert missed the first race, but don't let that fool you. He can't win the series, but he could play spoiler. And whether or not he wins or not the series, he wants to be the winner here today. And he also wants some payback on a guy named Isaiah Vidal, who beat him in the last Stadium Series that they raced in last year back in Fenway. The drama doesn't end there, though, because this week Ryan Kent and Roebuck Killian got into a little tiff. They're good friends, but there was some really good smack talking on who wants to win today and why. Kent thought that Robert had a couple of excuses in his back pocket. Robert assures us there are no excuses about any of his racing history, that he is full steam and ready to go today and ready to put down Ryan Kent in what should be a great battle on its own. There's another battle out there today that a lot of people weren't aware of, the Kempson brothers, Matt and Ryan. Now, Ryan was a game-time decision this morning and is going to be racing. He suffered a horrific finger injury in Minnesota in last week's Mountain Series race, where he actually crushed the tip of his finger underneath an Atlas ball. It broke it into many, many pieces right on the tip, and he did not know if he was able to race until about 10 minutes ago when I talked to him. But he's going to be a go. He is the second place male in the Stadium Series standings right now, and not only that, he's also looking to beat his brother Matt in today's race. Back to you guys.
Hey,
thanks,
awesome,
Kevin. It's going to be interesting to see who gets smacked down in this race.
Yeah.
Talking
about Bracken and Ryan, you're looking at so for Bracken Crocker and Ryan Kempson, now that he's racing, their last City Field results were 5 seconds difference, 30-18, 30-22. So it has a potential to be a very close race between those two. And Isaiah, he's right around the corner from them in terms of, let's see. So right now in the rankings, we have Bracken Crocker as first, 300 points. Ryan Kempson second, 299, 1 point, dude, 1 point. Isaiah Vidal, 295. Ryan Kent fourth, 286. Matthew Kempson, 283. Robert Muzowski, he's in sixth. Cole, I wonder if Cole's here, though, seventh. Vinny DeSalvo, eighth. Dylan and Rich Ryan in 10th.
So the interesting thing about this race is there's only 3 races count in the series. Each one is worth 300 points, and then the score for the people after first is a percent based on a percentage of their time, which makes it fair. If you happen to beat a race which is weak, then it means that the time that you get gives you an appropriate score. And that is better than the pure point system, which might be 1 point difference, but that does not take account of the difference. Now, as you can see in this race, it's a very, very tight race from City Field, and we've got only a couple of points between them all. Now, in this race, we've got Roebuck Killian, who's the defending point series winner from 2017, also the winner here last year, but he did not show at the first race. So you've got a very interesting race going on. Will it be Roebuck Killian, defending champ in this venue, or Bracken Crocker, who won in City Field? What do you think, Kevin?
Boy, that's a tough call. I like them both. You know, Bracken's got the lead right now. Fast runner, able to make that whole shot quick. So can Killian. Isaiah, you know, I'm not sure if he has the speed right off the bat, but the guy's got a monster engine and power. So,
well, you know, I'm gonna throw my hat in with Ryan Kent. I think he could pull it out. Ryan's always this wild card. He does extremely well at the cross country in the longer races, the Spartan Beasts and Supers. In this venue, not his strength, I don't think. Yeah. But having said that, the guy knows how to win, and we've seen him on fire this year.
He knows how to win. We saw him this morning in the parking lot. He looks fired up. He's acting fired up. He seems fired up. We saw him doing some warm-up, and he's looking strong, and he says he's ready to roll. So he's kind of the unknown in terms of the stadiums, but there is zero doubt he has the actual run speed and the acumen on the obstacles. Hey, and be sure to social media tag Spartan AT&T Stadium. That's what we'll be using today.
I'm also going to give a tip of the hat to Isaiah Vidal. Isaiah he loves these venues. He absolutely loves to race in stadiums. He does well on stairs. He likes the short stuff. We've seen him in the past do really well at track races, stuff where it's really short. So if it comes to a sprint, I'm not going to count him out.
If it comes down to this gauntlet, boy, and that assault bike, I think he's one of the few guys who actually trains on an assault bike, one of the air bikes, which is just people don't understand how brutal 15 calories is going to be at that finish. After doing the multi-rig, after doing the rope climb, the A-frame box jumps, finish it off with the assault bike. If he can get into a position where he's in the top second or third place on that assault bike, that's where he could make it happen.
Well, this is one of those skills that you don't often see in Spartan races. It's common to see the pure aerobic stuff on a hill.
Yep.
But there's not the big sustained long climbs that you have in most of these other races. And in the stadium races, what we're seeing is an element that really tests their aerobic conditioning, because at the end of the race, we're going to go full 15 calories, which could be a minute. Actually, it could be a lot longer for some athletes, but I'm guessing about a minute or so for the elites. And they are standing on their bikes, looking at the finish, probably looking at each other. If it's a close race, you could accumulate a few athletes into the bikes. Now, that'll make it interesting because there's guaranteed to be some projectiles coming up.
And it's also going to be interesting because strategically, there is strategy throughout every single race. You are making moment-to-moment, second-by-second calculations, which steps to take, which row to take, which line to take, which side of the steps. It's going to be interesting to see what some of the top guys do in that gauntlet, especially when it comes to the assault bike. Are you going to go right down the middle and pick a lane? Are you going to go to the outside? So there can be strategy all the way until the bitter end on this race.
Well, Kevin, these sports are not known as combat sports. You don't typically see people in Spartan races pushing each other around. However, I think this course lends itself to a little bit more interaction, and I think that could be extremely exciting. So my anticipation is we'll see it at the choke points, we'll see it at the hole shot off the start. We're going to see it in the stadium as they run through all of the seating and all of the chairs. We're also going to see it toward the end. The rope climb, the A-frame, and then onto the assault bikes. The assault bikes is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, that beginning 100-yard dash, that whole shot, that alone is going to set the stage for what could happen. But at the same time, you could blast yourself on that opening run and put yourself into oxygen debt. So, again, there's strategy at play right from the get-go of this race, whereas typically outside, you don't have to have as much strategy in that opening quarter mile because all you're doing is spreading people out. But here, you have to have that strategy right from the start.
I am anticipating, and I hope to see a sprint finish. When the athletes get through the bikes, if it's a sprint to the finish, it's going to be an interesting sprint because they have to run through the hanging bags and could possibly knock someone out.
Hey, Ian, let's throw it down to Kevin because I hear he's got Roebuck Killian down
I'm
there.
here with the 2017 Stadium Series winner, Roebuck Killian. Now, Robert, you can't win this series, but you're here to do some serious damage. Do you want to tell me about that a little bit?
Yeah, I missed the first race, and I wouldn't be able to make the last race, but this is by far my favorite stadium. It was my first stadium race last year ever. I got absolutely addicted after that. Wasn't even going to do the series. Decided to jump in, but yeah, I think I'll mix things up today. The top best athletes are here today, so I really want to see where I'm at.
It's good to point them out.
Yeah, kind of push the limits and show them that even though I'm not in the series, I'm still the defending champion.
Now, speaking of the top athletes here, Ryan Kent's here, and you guys kind of went back at it a little forth. I mean, I know you guys are good friends, but can you talk a little bit about that rivalry?
Yeah, I think it makes the racing a little bit more exciting sometimes. I mean, you just once you do it so much, it kind of gets monotonous. So you got to throw some talk in there. You got to kind of get amped up and make it a fun competition. I mean, we're great friends. We're going to hug it out at the end, but I mean, it's time to do business today.
Now, speaking of great competition, the man leading this is Bracken Crocker. He's been really quiet. What do you think it's going to take to beat Bracken today?
I mean, he's a Stadium Series specialist. I said it last year. The 3 criteria to be a Stadium Series champion: you got to be fast, bald, and quick. So one of the things I think Bracken is going to bring today is, I mean, he has experience at those functional fitness stations, his explosiveness and his speed, and I think that's going to be a critical factor today.
Well, that last thing is grit as well, and he's got it by the cowboy load. So we're going to take it out, and Robert, have a great race.
Hey, thanks so much.
You got it.
So Roebuck Killian is a really interesting athlete. Not many people know that he's a world champion in Ironman for the Army. He's also, I believe, a best ranger several times, and that's a pretty impressive resume to bring to these things. Robert races more than almost as much as you, Kevin.
I would say that all around, just the all-around OCR racer, you're not going to find anybody at this stage that's as accomplished as Robert. He does long distance, short distance, stadium, sprint, beast, ultra beast, hurricane heats, plus all of his military racing. I mean, this guy comes with a resume that's as accomplished as anybody else down on that field.
So it's not just a strong men's field. We've got an extremely strong women's field here as well. On the top of the women's field from
Let's
City
look at the
Field, we've
rankings
got Orla.
Yeah, we have Orla coming in first right now at 300 points. 4 points behind Cassidy. Both of them are here today. Kelly Sullivan's in third. Laura Messner's in fourth. Cody, Sarah Harrison, who I was with on the NBC Ultimate Team Challenge for Spartan Race. So she's been coming on the scene this past year. Tiffany Palmer. Tiffany's awesome. She's in seventh. Irena, eighth. Rachel, ninth. And Miriam, 10th.
So I'm not sure if Kate Kramer is here. She's the defending points
I hear she's
champion.
not here this weekend, unfortunately.
So what that means is that leaves Orla and Kelly, who were the top 2 women from last year. Here we have Kelly Sum. So here's the women to watch in this race.
Yeah, so we have Orla, who right now is first in the series. So she's here. Cassidy Wanton, I mean, she's got the power and the speed to be able to do this. Plus, she does a lot of functional fitness and a lot of CrossFit type movement. So she's going to be very well versed in some of that final gauntlet. And Kelly Sullivan coming in third. She's here also. And these women are separated by mere points in the standings. Just mere points. You know, if I were to pick, Ian, who do you think is going to take it for the women?
Oh, this is a tough one. Orla knows this venue well. She's proven herself here. But what's happening this year is the money is bringing people out. There's a purse over this season of $35,000, and that's really bringing the big guns out here.
Hey, let's head down to the field for the Star Spangled Banner. Yeah. Let's race. Okay, so, how awesome does that get in a phenomenal stadium like this with the Star Spangled Banner?
And people are paying big money to come in here and do tours. They make some huge amount of money for people to walk around, stand on the esteemed field, get in the stands, and and then that also works for the athletes because there's so much money here that they are motivated, and you're going to see them motivated by money.
And people wonder if you can make money in this sport. Yeah, you can make money in this sport. I've never seen a sport come on the scene so fast and so quick and go right to money purses. It took years for triathlon and mountain biking, for example. But just today, first place could take $800, second place $600, third $400. We pay all the way down to 10th place, which is $100. But the series winners can earn up to $3,000 on top of the individual race purse prizes. Not to mention all of these top men and women now, they have sponsorship opportunities as well. So,
well, and it's not just the Stadium Series. So the Spartan Race Series, there's many race series around the world. And it's national, continental, and then, of course, the World Champs in Tahoe. So in some respects, this is part of the Road to Tahoe. And in the Road to Tahoe, they've got to qualify. It's a new system this year. They've got to qualify internationals and then all the way up to Worlds. So that prize purse gets even bigger. So what are we looking at this year there, Kevin?
What are we looking at for?
The total prize purse across the series all the way to the Worlds.
I don't know. Did you do the math on it?
I haven't done the math, but I know it's a lot of money. They're usually throwing up we're talking for the entire series and all the money that you can win throughout a season as an athlete. The purse is well over $100,000. So we're talking about athletes who can now be truly professional.
Yeah, not only that, but some of these people are racing multiple different series. So, you know, again, it's a sport that came on quick, just grew like wildfire. And, you know, now some of these athletes, they have Roebuck Killian's, Yokohama Tires. We've got, you know, Bose, and, oh, there's Isaiah. He's looking focused. So the men's start coming up here. We're about a minute away, roughly. There's Isaiah. He's looking like he's getting focused. We've already seen Ryan. There's Bracken. We've seen, look at Ryan Kent doing a little boxing with his sweet ponytail man bun. He needs to grow that up a little bit.
So there's Bracken in the white top. When you'll see the field, you'll see two bald heads. One of them is going to be Bracken, and one of them is going to be Roebuck Killian.
Jack Bauer right there, I see, also. Yeah, I've seen. It's going to be interesting to see how this first wave goes off. Because there's Kempson. So, yeah, we've got some real, you know, monsters in this heat. But that opening hole shot's going to make a huge difference right off the bat. Not only strategically, but, you know, mentally. If you can be the first person into that hole shot, that sort of mental boost can give you a little extra fuel during these races, because you know you made your first strategic move and you know you nailed your first strategic move, because I guarantee you everybody going into that first turn, they want that entry because it's going to bottleneck and you're going to go single file.
I would not be surprised from what Killian said. He may hold back a little bit because you still got to run, and you still got to run 3.6 miles.
Yeah.
So you don't win a 3.6 mile race in a sprint unless there's hole shots that you have to make to set yourself up. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they approach the start.
Strategy and looking at their gear. So I'm looking at race shoes. I'm looking at laces. I'm looking at if they're wearing gloves. I'm looking at their clothing choices. All of these things play a role in the day's racing. I mean, you don't just wake up every morning and kind of wing what you think you're going to wear, how you're going to prepare. This stuff is all planned out. I mean, you lay this gear out at night.
We've only got one athlete here in compression, which is an interesting choice. Some people might think, well, it's going to be hot on a day like this. On the other hand, when that starts to wet down with sweat, it actually gets cooler. So It's not a bad idea.
And with all of these steps and with all the ground and pound we're going to get on all of this concrete, the compression is actually a great choice because it just keeps the muscle vibration down so you stay a little bit fresher. That if I was racing, I would definitely be wearing compression, no doubt about it. Plus, it's just, you got real barbed wire out there on this race, and the real barbed wire means you can catch loose-fitting clothing. That's why tight fit clothing and compression and no shirt, especially in these conditions, it's the way to be going.
So, Kevin, why do we see some athletes here without headbands?
Well, our headbands, so we have some people on the pro team who have headbands, and then they're assigned a certain number. That number can be based on the ranking, although this year we went to kind of a choose-your-own number. We got 1 minute to start, people. I'm surprised Kempson was wearing gloves, but maybe that's because of his bummed hand.
Well, Cracker's wearing them too, so that's
there he is,
choice.
Huh. That's kind of interesting. I'm typically a no-gloves guy. I don't think there's any better grip on the planet than your hands. And I've tried it all, and just skin is the best. Guys getting focused.
Well, the footwear choice is interesting as well. We've got, you're going to use a racing flat in this kind of race. It's going to be a very light shoe. The grip is not as important on some of these loose surfaces. And you can see most of these guys have got very little on their feet, although I do see a couple of regular running shoes, which is odd.
Yeah, that is kind of odd. I would expect straight up racing flats. And if you don't want a racing flat, it's essentially a road running shoe that is an absolute minimum shoe. You're talking a 6 to 9 ounce racing flat. I'm seeing a few racing flats, but I'm also seeing some traditional, everyday running shoes. So that's a little bit of a surprise. But as we all know, what ultimately matters is going to be the engine. The engine's going to matter. Isaiah down there getting focused. I know what he's up to right now.
They are nervous right now. You can see them shuffling foot to foot.
And if you race, as a guy who's raced, I don't know, I've raced over 500 races in 25 states, maybe 15 different countries. This, to me, is the absolute worst part of the race. This final minute before you get going. It's so stressful.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing to be at a start line. For those of you watching who are racing or do race, your heart rate is probably getting elevated right now.
Oh yeah.
These guys at the start line, their heart rates are starting to skyrocket. They're getting a big hit of adrenaline. They're starting to breathe heavily. You can see some of them are sweating lightly. They may have had a good warm up, but it is warm out there. Although in the stadium, it is not that warm.
Yeah, but let me tell you something else about how these corrals are typically picked. You'll see we have our elite starting men right here, but you'll see there are people backing up in the behind that for the next corral. The way these guys are typically chosen, what heat they go into, is based on their previous results. And then we filter those out and we have all of our elite guys, and then we bring in other. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Let's race. And they're off. Looking for who's going the whole shot.
Well,
there's
like
Crack right up. Yep, there's Kempson, which is no big surprise. Who's going to take it? Who's going to take it? Who's going to take it? Oh! And last second outside shot.
And there's some interaction
Kempson's
already.
Up there.
You saw the leaders pushing each other.
That was a pretty stout move to make. Up the first flight of steps. Taking the right-hand turn.
So they're going to wind their way up through these stairs.
We're going blind a little bit here. Okay.
Up to a big set of stairs in the stairwell. So it's really a climb. What's happening is the start went straight to a climb. And the climb goes all the way up to about the 6th level of the stadium. And there they get to do the first wall. Then they run back down the stairs and they're going to head out again.
And
so
I can
let's see what happens up the stairs.
Strategy right there. Which side of the steps did you pick? Why did you pick those sides of the steps?
And it looks like everyone's taking the inside line, which makes sense. It's a little bit shorter.
Bit shorter on the inside, but it's a tighter right-hand 90-degree turn or 180 turn on some of these, which means a potential to slip out. So if you go a little bit wider, you get a little bit easier of a turn, which means you can potentially keep your speed a little bit higher when you go into the turn versus a super hard right-hand turn.
I'm surprised about seeing him grab the rail. If anyone does the building races, where the stair climb races, it's really useful to pull yourself on the rail. So use your arms as well. It's not just leg power.
I would
you can
agree.
Use here.
Like, as I'm doing these, the stadium I've done before and yesterday, I'm grabbing the handhold and looking for a pull, looking for a pull, looking for a pull. Hey, look, you can see some guys are doing it, actually.
Yeah, and it's spreading out already. It's only
here we go. There's the first wall, which I believe is our 6-foot wall, right up and over. You cannot use the sides. You cannot use the little stability portions in the middle. It's just up and over the wall. Some people are using a flip technique. 6-foot wall is pretty short, Ian, so you won't have to use like a heel hook or anything like that. You can jump right over that wall.
Now, running downstairs is an interesting thing, because as you can see, they're sort of going sideways. The reason they do that is that the stair is sometimes shorter than their shoe. And if the stair is shorter than your shoe, it means you can't run down facing forward and you have to go sideways. If you have really little feet, then it makes a much bigger difference. Someone like Michael Jordan's going to have a hard time.
So look, moves are already being made. Here comes Bracken. He might have been smart to let the whole shot go and start making it up in some of the open areas. Like, you can already see who was in first, and I'm not sure who that is.
This is our top three, and
this is our top three.
It's announced as a wild card. We got
we got a wild card in there. I'm not sure who it is. We got Bracken in third. It looks like Kempson up front. But the gap is already closing, and there's Ryan Kent right there.
And this is what we're talking about.
So there's our top four.
This is what we're talking about in the stairs. There's actually a choice here. You can't see it from this angle, but when you run through the chairs, you can get a choice. In fact, I think someone ran high there.
That was our camera guy, yeah.
You're going to run the straightest shot, which is obvious, but if you have to make
Here
a pass,
Isaiah.
you can do it because they created effectively a double track.
Did you see that move by Ryan Kent? Decided to bypass walking down some of the steps, put both his hands on the rails, and jump down. Pretty smart move.
That is some good athleticism, and that's what we expect to see. These athletes are not just runners, of course. They can do all sorts of amazing athletic skills, including jumping big distances, which you might think, yeah, it doesn't matter that much. But the reality is, in most of these races, jumping is a very good skill to have. Watch his feet as he goes down, so he's going sort of sideways.
Yep, here's our first outside transition.
So what they're feeling here is they're going from the cold, air-conditioned interior of AT&T Stadium, and they're going out into already some hot weather. It's well over 80 degrees outside right now.
4 minutes, 4 minutes in. This looks like Kempson. Short over. Good method,
Very
too.
good
He's
technique.
not having to put his feet on. He's just hopping right over.
So this is what
he's
we
got a
call
good
the hurdles.
stride, too.
Yep.
Wow, man.
This is slightly downhill. It's hard to see it from the angle, but this is slightly downhill.
Strong. So this is our version of the Atlas carry for the stadium. So you're typically out, do a set of burpees.
And everything here is 15, so he's going to do 15 burpees.
No, I think typically on
10.
these would be 5. For the Atlas carry, it's generally just 5. We'll see here. Yeah, 5 on the Atlas carry. Look at all these guys together. We got Killian, we've got Kempson, Kent, Cracker, all the top guys right there. 4 minutes, just under 5 minutes. Here comes Isaiah. Yeah. Just 5 minutes in, and we've already got the pack together. Real barbed wire. Yeah, he's doing the crawl that I like to use. A lot of people, like you'll see some of these guys like Ryan, look, they're rolling.
And this is a fairly high wire. Most of the wires are quite low.
Yeah.
In this case, you can see it facilitates being a bit quicker through the wire and allows different techniques.
Yeah, look at Kempson. Watch. He's protecting that finger. He's holding the finger up at times out of the way when he does his roll, so he's not jamming that hurt finger into the ground.
Well, it's going to be fascinating to see how he deals with some of the things like the Herc hoist and the rope climb, because it's very difficult with one hand.
Look, he's making some little adjustments, pulling it tight. Shoot, he might be pulling that off. I think he might be pulling that off.
Now, there's a good example of a racing flat. We were talking about shoes earlier, and he's got a very light shoe on his foot. I'm guessing his shoe is no more than 6 ounces, and a typical running shoe can weigh in at 16 ounces.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, racing flat and something like this is the way to go. Yeah, here we go into the spear. And as you can see, we use a very small foam block, so it's got plenty of height, but it's very narrow. This right here, this is where everything can change. This is the ultimate changer because no matter how much you practice, there are other variabilities that take place.
So the penalty for this, 15 burpees if someone misses a spear. The foam is good, but like all things, there is some variability. Over time, holes develop in.
It looks like Ryan got it. Robert got it.
And
okay, it looks like Kempson got it also. So now we've shifted again. Kempson's up front still.
Into the Z-wall.
Into the Z-wall. So here's about the Z-wall. Can't touch the top. Can't touch the inside. Got to only hold the holds, and you have to ring the bell at the end. If you whiff that bell, you're doing burpees. It doesn't matter if you made it all the way through the Z-wall.
It's rare to see someone fail this obstacle, but it does happen. And there can be interaction. If you watch, they are so close in this race.
First guy out, Bracken.
Yep, they're all.
He was second in, first out,
and
Ryan.
Looks like Killian on the right was coming through.
Yep, this is where you're starting to see the strategy and skill
Back into
kicking
the stairwell.
A little bit of a pass there with Bracken, fighting it out with Kempson.
For those of you who run stairs, especially after doing this upper body stuff, you're shunting blood. So what happens is when you do an upper body exercise, you're shunting blood to the working muscles in your upper body. Then you go to a run, you got to shunt the blood back down again. And it's not easy.
Not only that, but look at the momentum and look at the pace, how much it slows on these steps, how much they were hammering through the flats. You guys, listen.
He's going to his hands.
Yeah, now he's going into a type of power hike to get up the steps. Kempson is.
So when he bends over like that, what's happening is his leg's giving out and he's going down to his hands.
Oh, man, you can see the suffering. That's a huge pass right there. Bracken, he just played it smart. Oh, there you go, strategy. There you go, strategy.
So that was the pass. So
which line do you take?
Yeah, that's a good question. And he took the wrong line. He should have stayed his course.
He should have stayed. Bracken should have stayed high because he didn't have to take a turn if you stayed on the high road. Here we go, Sandbag Carry. For men, it's about 50 pounds. Oh, look, they're grouped back up again.
So
you can carry it any way you want in terms of one shoulder. You can carry it in your hands. Some people spread it across their backs to spread out the weight, distribute it a little bit easier.
There's a big mental component to these races. As you can see, these guys are neck and neck. They are on each other's heels, and they're thinking, can I do a pass? Is it possible, and when should I do a pass? This is strategic and it's mental, but you can also just sit back there and you just never know. Oh, there's the pass.
See, there's your pass. So there's a place in the steps where we couldn't see, but you have both sides of the aisle available. Which side of the aisle do you take? Can you tell that one of your competitors is fading a little bit, so you switch aisles because you know you want to make a pass? That's exactly what Bracken just did. He could tell Kempson was fading a little bit. He took a different line, made the pass. And you couldn't do that if you were on just straight single track. So in the moment, in the second, you're thinking, I'm taking the right side, I'm taking the left side.
Now this makes a very difficult descent. When you're carrying weight on a descent, it works different muscles. You cannot go down like you're running. And the reason is you have to support a lot more weight on your legs. So typically you'll see the athletes are crouched just a little bit, and that's going to soften the impact on their joints.
Yeah.
You can see Cracker doing it there. Very nice.
The suffering you may not see right now in their faces, but I can assure you right now it's pain. I mean, look, people, you're already starting to see some of the back of that first wave are already walking. Whereas the top guys, notice they're doing at least a run shuffle on everything. Nothing so far has really walked. They're slowing up, but they'll do like a run shuffle as opposed to just straight walking. Here they come again.
And we're still at 3 together.
We've got another shift in lead. Bracken got caught. There's Ryan. There's Killian. Boom! Nice. Throw right in the box. Don't even waste your time walking up and setting it down. Just throw it in the box and go. That's how you save. That's a strategy move where you save 1 or 2 seconds. But remember, it's not just the 1 or 2 seconds. It's the mental game because you just blasted your competition into knowing you just made a smarter move than they did.
That's right. And these guys are thinking about seconds every move because these races can come down to 1 second out of finish or a sprint to the line. So if you make a bobble on your sandbag or you slip just one hand on a rope, that can be the race.
Yeah, I have had races, probably 3 this year, and in the last, I don't know, 10 to 20 races, I've had races literally come down to 1 second. So don't be surprised. Seeing how tight these 3 guys are racing right now, don't be surprised if it comes down to that, especially when we get to that gauntlet.
Of course, all of these guys know that the leads at the
Look at Robert. Great stride. Just a great long stride, man.
Just so everyone knows, it doesn't necessarily look fast from the camera's viewpoint, but these guys are hauling. They are absolutely moving it.
Did you see that? Another choice. Look at how Robert went low. Look at how Ryan went high. But, yeah, strategy choice. Love it.
And to give you your perspective on speed here, if they come, let's say they come in 30 minutes, and it's almost a 4-mile course with a lot of climbing and a lot of weight, how many of you can run 4 miles in 30 minutes without all of this stuff?
Without all of this stuff. And we're looking at this ground yesterday. Okay, here comes this massively long downhill set of ramps. This, when we were walking yesterday, shocked me how long it was. This is not over quick. It goes on and on. And unless you have the chance to preview this, which the athletes typically don't, they have no idea that this is, I don't know, 10 turns down. It's just a hammer fest. But look at Roberts opening it up.
Pretty much everything's a surprise, which is also another mental aspect because you don't know what's coming around the corner. And all of a sudden, you think you're running somewhere, but you shouldn't think that because you might just hit an obstacle in a hurry and not know what's coming at you.
That stride, man, he is opening it up. He is opening it up. But this is exactly where if you're patient, you can make a move. So let's say you got bottlenecked in some of the stairs and in some of the steps. This is exactly what you do. You do what he's doing. And you play the game to wait for this open. And look at how tight he's taking that inside line, taking the inside corner. Again, just to shave a second or so, maybe even less than a second. But there's no reason on these to go real wide. Because contrary to what it may look like, Ian, that ground is a lot stickier than you might think. It looks slick, but it actually has like a sand component in it. I noticed yesterday because so many people have to walk on it.
There was a slip. He actually had a slip on that corner. So they are holding. You see how hard he was leaning over? He was about 45 degrees to the ground. Yeah. That is some fast moving. Now he's standing up upright a little bit more. Now talking about
going back outside. So this is our second. This is our second outside. I think there are 7 in and out transitions. So now they just crossed into almost 90-degree heat. Hoist
into the Herc hoist.
Yep, typically about 120 pounds for the men, roughly speaking. Everybody should have same. Robert in and out, no problem.
Robert didn't even crouch down. He just stood up and did it. That's amazing. That's some incredible technique.
1 foot has to be on the ground. You can hook on the fence, but you can't take both feet off the ground when you start doing the pull.
That's right. So some of these races you can touch the fence and some you can't. In this race you can.
And now look, if you're paying attention, he's taken some double steps. Robert Killian's taken some double steps.
Yeah, he's doubling it all the way up. This is an interesting thing for Killian because he hasn't raced this course, but he has raced this venue. So going down the big ramp, he's already raced up that ramp 2 years ago. He knows what to expect. So there's elements of this course to his advantage.
But see, that's the beauty of having a racer history like he has. He's raced in every conceivable condition. So although you might not have been in this particular stadium, rating this particular course, you have a memory of how the body functions, of what moves to make. And you're at these moments, you're just drawing upon previous race experience and history to make your choices as you're racing. So they can still have phenomenal races and have never raced this course before. Double steps, double steps, double steps.
And being familiar with transitioning from running on concrete on level ground and then running up concrete stairs and down concrete stairs, having that experience and having that muscle memory is really important.
Yeah. So, and you know, kudos to our rabbits that are following these guys. They're keeping up well, getting us some good point of.
So I'm guessing since we're at about 50 minutes, we're probably a bit more than halfway through the race. It's always difficult to tell, but if we expect approximately 30 minutes, I'm going to say we're about halfway, and Robert is starting to push it now. This is where you'd call, if you're smart and you pace your race well, you do a negative split. A negative split means you run the second half of the race faster than the first half, and typically it's going to be a faster race overall.
Yeah, you know, with his military background, he's probably can do these walls 6 foot, 8 foot, 10 foot as easy as anybody can. That's a pretty common, when you do military obstacle type races, which I've done on Camp Pendleton, walls are a pretty common element. So here we're going back down steps, turn slightly sideways, as you pointed out earlier, so that your whole foot can fit on the step. Whereas if you try to go straight forward, your toe is typically off. Turned a little bit sideways is actually faster. Taking double and triple steps. Double and triple steps.
Very difficult to do. It's got a name. It's called French stepping. Killian is just hammering in this race.
Boom! Turn around. There's a tight turn back up.
Now, this is an advantage. He can see where the other athletes are now, and he knows he's got a good lead.
Oh, yeah, he knows. He's acutely aware of what's happening and where he's at. When you race at the elite level, you know exactly what's going on around you. You may never look back, and that's one of my philosophies. I don't ever look back. But you're aware of spectators clapping, when they clap, when they stop to clap, where the camera people are. You can pick up on these subtle cues to let you know where you are on the chain of events that are taking place.
Was that Ryan we saw there?
Yeah, that was Ryan. So Robert taking some double and triple steps, using the handrails. Just looks like he's increasing his lead. Great place to open up right here.
Not quite sure who's directly behind him. I think we saw Ryan Kent.
Yeah, I think it's Ryan Kent in second still also. Robert,
look at that stride.
Yeah, man, look at that. Just crushing it. Crushing it. Bracken.
Oh, Bracken's dropped back a bit. He's really lost some time in this.
And his stride looks a little bit short, but I wouldn't count him out by it. You know, there's Ryan. Wow, look at that gap, though.
The spread is at least 25 seconds, which in these races is huge.
Fourth isn't even in sight. I don't know. I don't know if Kempson maybe went out a little bit too hard, got that hole shot at the last second, maybe went out a little hard, is feeling the heat now, is feeling the build-up, you know, just going into oxygen debt a little bit.
So with this lead, and Killian knows he has a good lead, what he's thinking about right now is he wants not to fail anything.
Yeah.
So what he does is he goes into these obstacles and he's thinking about preparing to have a clean obstacle, not a fast obstacle. He doesn't need speed at this point. He wants clean.
Yeah, I would always choose better efficiency at the obstacle, even if it means a little bit slower, versus trying to move through the obstacle quickly and risking a failure on the obstacle. Here we've got some of our maybe back-end elite wave or one of the open waves. Very different. Look at, you can see very different strides, very different paces.
Yeah, and this shows you a big difference. You can see now all these guys are good athletes and they're doing well in their age groups and their categories. They are not running out 5-minute miles.
Sure. Well, who do we got up there?
I don't know who's winning, though.
Let him know that Killian's winning as of the last videos we saw. So look at these guys sweating. I mean, oh, there's Joe Roll. Hey,
hang out for a little while.
All right, we're going to see where the winners, the leaders are at the next obstacle. That's going to accumulate them.
You might want to get an interview with you.
Looks like the women are lining up. Coming out of the corral are elite women. Looks like they're lining up.
So as you can see, there's a lot of waves out here on the course.
Here we go. Okay, so here we have to do push-ups, hands off the ground, 15 of them.
Left under the A-frame.
Kempson.
Over the wall, and then back up again.
But I'm not sure if this is Kempson back in the lead. I would be very surprised if it was. Because if it was, yeah, Roberts looks like Roberts still in the lead. He looks like
the push-ups, and he's been through the jump rope.
Yeah, the jump rope.
Heading to the stadium floor, and he's going to go under the A-frame, I believe.
Looking phenomenal. Let me tell you about that jump rope really quick.
Oh,
not only is that a thick, heavy jump rope, here comes Robert into the gauntlet. The other man, and Ryan's right behind him. So Robert getting up on the gauntlet. Ring.
So he missed the first ring, went a double.
Ring, rope.
Clean.
Rope, bell.
Nice.
So he grabbed them all. Here's Ryan coming in. Multi-rig under the A-frame.
So it
looks like so far they all crushed
right now.
They all crushed the multi-rig. 10-foot wall, no problem.
There's that beautiful technique. One of the many ways you can get over a wall. That's a fast one.
Come on, Bracken!
So first,
same technique.
We have Robert, we have Ryan, we have Kraken, first, second, third, and a massive gap.
Then there's daylight.
Looks
like at least another 30 seconds back to the next athlete.
Did you have a rabbit with him?
There's Kempson just coming into the multi-rig. Here we go, Kempson coming. Let's see what he does with that hand.
Look, get this.
Oh, he's using a chicken wing.
With one hand doing the rig because of his finger.
He's doing a chicken wing because of his hand. Oh, man, that's athleticism right there.
Not only that, it hurts.
Most people would not pull that move. That's awesome. Oh, yeah, and not misses, but
you go, Ryan!
He bypasses the last hold on the rig and just goes right for the bell and nails it. That was awesome. I'm not sure. Is this Gowski?
Yep. So right now the leaders are probably through the
10-foot wall.
Again,
boom, right over.
And everything. So if you could set
smooth move.
Kevin, tell us about the skill where you've got hands only, feet on the trolleys.
Hold on, here we go into. So the way this works is put your feet on. You have to go down, pick it back up, and run it back. And you know, it's not that it's a hard obstacle. It's that it just breaks up your momentum. It breaks up how you're moving. Oh, hands and feet. Oh, because he's going under these elastic rings upstairs.
So this is what we were talking about when your legs go. If your legs go, you've still got arms. So
but he's also going under the elastic, so that's part of why he was bent over.
It was difficult to see, but that was effectively a low crawl up the stairs.
Yeah, it's like a bear crawl with rather than barbed wire, it's an elastic band. So you can hit the band, you can touch the band, and you won't get cut.
So here's Bracken grabbing the rail. Good technique.
Yep.
You got everything. So he's now we're seeing some build-up of acidosis in the muscles, which is where he's gone a little anaerobic, and he's starting to accumulate some of that whey product in the muscles, which then inhibits their contractility, and that's a long way of saying he's kind of blown his legs up.
Here's something that people may not realize. Not always in these races are you running. As a matter of fact, oftentimes these races can come down to these power hikes. If you try to run the entire course, you will generally blow yourself out. So it's not uncommon to see this type of speed hiking and power hiking. Killian leading, using the handrail, pulling himself up. Smart move.
Looks like Kent's still behind him.
Yep.
It's tightening up a little for second and third. I think this may be our top three, depending what happens at the obstacles.
Still a good stride. You can tell he's slowed up just a little bit, but he also just came up a bunch of steps.
You can see the height. You can see the elevation change here. That roof is almost 300 feet off the ground, so they're not climbing insignificant distances. He's probably just did a 200-foot vertical climb, and that's a pretty hefty climb for anyone.
Yeah. Oh, there's Ryan. Yep, Ryan and Kent second. Bracken still in third, making that power hike up the steps, but notice they're going from a power hike right into a run. Power hike right into a run. So they'll conserve it a little bit on the steps, but they're getting right back into the run right after, if we consider the steps obstacles, right after the obstacle, they're getting back into a run stride.
Now here's
not
Killian.
walking.
Now look at his stride, because as he's worked the stress out of his legs from the climb and he's going into the horizontal runs, look how much he opens his stride up.
Yeah, he does. He's taking advantage of those open stretches. He's not just milking it. He's like, okay, I've got some open room here. I can make 5 good strides and keep a good pace.
Still running doubles down the stairs.
Yep. Holding that handrail just so he doesn't take a digger and hit the deck. Boom, boom.
That is something that you're cognizant of when you do these races, is that having a digger on these hard angular surfaces is not a good experience.
It's not a good experience, but let me give everybody a piece of advice. If that ever happens, the best thing you can ever do is get up and start moving. Don't lay around and try to assess the damage. Get up and go. The adrenaline pump and the adrenaline surge will carry you through, so don't sit there and worry about if you're injured. Get up and go.
Kempson, by the looks of things?
No, it looks like Ryan Kent.
Oh, yeah, Ryan Kent.
You can tell by that funny man bun. One day he'll grow a true long hair, maybe. Here we go. Ryan's
Killian back out into
Killian,
the course.
Looking good. Has an open, wide zone here. Pretty much owning this course and controlling this course. I mean, there's nobody close to him.
One thing you notice with these athletes' apparel choices is they do not have stuff that flaps around. There's a very obvious reason for that, and that is that you don't want stuff getting caught on anything in these races. If you get hung up by your apparel, your race can be over, or it could cause an injury.
Slam balls, 15 of them. You'll see a varying type of technique here. Boom.
Has to go over your head, has to hit the ground. It's about 25 pounds.
Look at totally focused, like not paying attention to anything else but what he needs to do to get the job done. Boom. And check this out also.
Oh, he's got a good lead.
Not only does he have a good lead, he's had a consistent speed throughout all of these. So, but yeah, it's like, a little bobble. That's a few seconds.
No, he's trying to do the bounce.
But look at how he's doing a totally different technique than Robert was doing. You can tell Bracken looks a little bit fatigued. He's using a similar technique that...
Keeping his hands under the ball rather than letting it drop and then having to go and get it.
Yeah,
he's keeping control of the ball, which is important.
I would argue that with Ryan slamming the ball and dropping the ball like that, he's used a little bit more energy. So here we go. Double carry, farmer's carry.
There's choices here. When you go and see these containers, some of them have wide handles and some of them have narrow handles. And that's another choice. If you look at them carefully as you run in and you grab a wide handle but your grip is going, it can really mess your grip up. If you get a narrow handle, you can wrap your fingers all the way around and kind of lock them off. It looks like he chose the narrow-handled ones.
And I'm not sure. So let's just assume those are 5 gallons. A gallon of water is 8 pounds. So you're looking at about 35. So you're looking at about 70 pounds of farmer's carry right here on the fly, downhill, and assuredly back uphill.
Another thing that people know as athletes is that downhill, we call this eccentric loading, is really hard on your muscles. Running down is the stuff that really damages you. So they know this, and they know that going down, they got to be fast, but at the same time, they don't want to be so fast that they really mess their legs up.
Check that out. Robert already on the uphill. Look at his face. Taking the inside line, cutting the corner. Shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So if you can cut that tangent, take that inside line a quarter, you're that much faster. Again, strategy, constant strategy. And a lot of this stuff, Ian, you don't even think about as an elite level racer. It's just ingrained in your DNA. You know to make these moves. Some things you have to calculate. Some things, they just come naturally.
So at that point, Killian's shoulders, his grip, his forearms are all starting to cramp up. It's a hard obstacle, that one. A lot of people will actually put their cans down a fair bit and sit on them because it is that hard. Because these guys won't do that. But they will push it all the way until something happens. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them start to cramp. Here's an interesting technique. He's going down
like a reverse bear crawl. That was awesome. But you notice he came right out of the jerry cans, right back into his run stride, man. He didn't even take time to...
This is an interesting technique. It actually is quite smart because it's doing what we call opposing muscle groups. There's a lot of... You don't usually have that force on your body in these races, which is your arms behind you and pushing yourself up. So he's alternating his muscle groups, and that is also a smart way to go because he's using different muscles, stressing different parts of his body as he goes through the course.
Phenomenal footage. This is phenomenal. Oh, look, Ryan Kent using a totally different method than Robert, doing the backwards bear crawl down the steps, whereas Robert was using kind of a reversed bear crawl down the steps. This is another method.
So
awesome.
You can't see it on the footage here, but those bungees are hard. They are hard bungees, and they will slap you down.
They'll snap your back, but at least they won't cut you like the barbed wire.
That's true.
So now we're 28:49 into the race so far, coming down these steps. Things have spread out quite a bit in that elite field. I'm not sure where Bracken's at right now, but he was in third. We're focused right now on a Robert and Ryan Kent.
Well, if the bikes take a minute, which they could, you're still going to see 3 or 4 athletes together.
Checking his watch, and let me tell
line.
you something. Yeah, this is proving to be a longer course because we're about to hit the 30-minute mark, and that's fairly long for some of these courses when you look back on some of the results. We've had 23-minute races. We've had 30-minute races for the men.
Bracken, he's going sideways on this one. Everyone's got a different technique. This is interesting because generally there's one good way to do it, but because this is a fairly novel obstacle, they're all choosing something different. I'm guessing partly because
here we go. Coming
in
the gauntlet.
Had enough time to practice.
Coming into the gauntlet. So first we're going to have the rope climb. Robert's still in the lead, and he's got a pretty sizable lead, I have to add. 1, 2, 3 pulls to the top, drop. Here we go to box jumps, and the men and women have different size and height box jumps. Men's a little bit taller. 15 have to stand up straight. Looking good,
he
good
has
form.
A 23-second lead coming.
Here comes Ryan Kent.
Onto the field.
Ryan Kent coming into the rope. He's taking a far rope, which is a smart move, closer to the box jump. 1, 2, 3, 4 pulls to get to the top.
All of these obstacles.
Getting onto the box jump with Robert, taking a different box.
And
but
all of
Robert's
stress you really hard. As you can see, they're alternating muscle groups again. So they're doing upper body or lower body.
Here we go. Robert's going to be the first up the A-frame. Boy, this is going to be interesting. Can Ryan make up the time on the assault bike? I think it's going to be pretty tough.
I think with Killian's experience cycling, he has been an Ironman, a world champion Ironman triathlete. He's got this bike dialed.
Agreed. You know, of anybody on this field right now, he is a cyclist.
You can see
there's
the judges,
Bracken
they're paying attention to the calorie count.
Boom, boom, pain.
So this is 15 calories. It's actually
this
quite a lot.
This is so brutal. This is
Here
amazing.
they are. They're
Look
facing
at
each
this side by side. Smart move. Pick a bike right next to Robert. Let him know what's up. Try to play some psychological tactics. Exactly what I would have done. Pick a bike right next to him and let him know what's up. But Robert is not letting up. Not letting up. Jeez, boy. If you've done I call this bike the devil's bike.
So Roebuck Killian has also skied, which means he knows how to pull back on poles, and that's exactly what he's doing here. He's twisting his body. Kind of looks ugly, like he's throwing himself side to side. It's a really smart way to do it, but he's using his obliques. He's using his back.
Yeah, and he's standing up. He's getting that power from his body.
Ryan is just using his arms.
Boom, boom, boom. There you go. Get out the way, he says to the volunteer. He's like, get out the way, dude. I'm racing. Yeah.
Through the heavy bags.
Through the heavy bags. Boom.
And he's done it.
Yeah, Robert bringing it home.
32 minutes and 10 seconds. That is an incredible race.
32:11.
That was a long course. And
wiped out. Yeah, that's a long course. Ryan's fried. Yeah, just jogging it in. Knows he's got second in the bag. Well done, man.
What a tight race. That's incredible. And we've got 3 more guys in the gauntlet now. Isaiah's
come on, Kraken.
up on the box jumps.
Bracken. Come on, buddy. Just hammer it.
Kraken's doing it. Oh.
So here you go.
We've got.
Let me show you something right here about OCR. Look at these guys. Friends. This is how it works. Talking, laughing, raced your butts off, so hugging it out. This is why I love this sport right there. Look at that camaraderie. Man, I've participated in a lot of sports, Ian, and part of what I love so much about OCR and these Spartan races is the fact that there is this type of camaraderie.
Kevin, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of sports where these one-on-one races, people are absolutely brutal on and off the course, and that is not the case here.
Bringing it in.
Bracken Crocker, nice time.
Third place, 14. Almost a minute behind the winning time of Killian. Almost a minute. So think about how much time Robert made. You know what? Third place, Bracken. Second, Ryan Kent. First, Roebuck Killian.
As we expected, it's a pretty tight race.
Yep, that's going to keep Bracken and Ryan in the leads for their position. That should secure them their points to stay in those top positions. Bringing it home. Oh, yeah, I like that method. That's one I'll try to use.
Kind of like just back down in the overall.
Good job. Spent. Isaiah looks like coming in around 5th. Cashed out, looks like. Cashed out. Oh, I'm so happy for Robert. Such a good guy, man. I mean, mad respect. I had the opportunity, Ian, to battle with Robert on a television show. I had to wrestle him. This guy's an Army Ranger, a Green Beret, an OCR world champion, and I had to scrap with that guy in a ring.
Yeah, he's an active duty. He's captain of the National Guard, so
much respect.
He has some skills that we don't have. One of the nicest guys in the world, but you don't want to mess with him.
And he's just got a mindset. I mean, he's got a mindset of a winner. He knows what it takes to win. He knows what it means to win. The guy is relentless and focused, and that's what it takes. And that's why he's consistently at the top of his game. That's what makes him so good, is he is always consistent. So let me just say something right here. Notice that I'm not sure who this guy was, but remember how he led the opening, 10 minutes of this race through all the steps? Now you're looking at a fade back. That's Jack Bauer in the black, good athlete, solid athlete. Might actually catch him here. He's looking, oh, no.
Oh, he's giving a good shot. Jack Bauer actually trains on rowers. He's a very good rower, so he can simultaneously work his arms and his legs. Nice finish.
Good job.
Something else you notice with these athletes is you notice they're not that wet when they finish, but after the finish, when they've stopped, they really sweat up fast. And that's because they've developed such a heat load and there's no longer air moving over them. They have to cool down, so they are sweating profusely. You saw Killian pick up drinks immediately.
Here we go, top females, elites. Let's see. I see Laura Messner. Looking for, okay, there's Orla on the far right.
Okay, Robert.
Looks like we're going to throw it down to Kevin Donahue on the field with Roebuck Killian, our winner. Yeah.
I'm here with men's winner, Roebuck Killian. Robert,
yeah.
It was as expected. It was you, Ryan Kent, and Bracken Crocker all the way through to the finish. You guys met at the multi-rig. You followed through. You were basically in the same position coming through the finish. Where did the race turn, and where did you take command?
I mean, Ryan took it out super fast right at the beginning. I would say right around spear throws when I started to settle in, because, I mean, we all know that's where you really got to make or break your race. So after that, we went in, right into the rig. And then once we started hitting those stairs, I think that's where the separation began. And then into the functional fitness stations, I was trying to save it because I knew that assault bike was coming.
Yeah.
And it was going to be intense. So I kept hearing Kent, close. But I wanted to let off the gas a little bit so I could just hammer that assault bike and try to finish out strong.
Smart.
Robert, you've done a lot of different areas of Spartan. You've done from the longest ones to the Ultra Beast, to the Ultra Beast World Championship, to the stadiums. What makes this so different? Even though it's shorter, what makes this race so demanding?
I mean, it's just high intensity the entire way. You got to go out and hammer. You got to be really agile on your feet because there's a lot of twists and turns. You're going through narrow stadiums. You're having to go through functional fitness stations right into climbs. There's no rest in between obstacles, maybe like in a longer race where you get, the trail and the running portion to take it off a little bit. You're going max heart rate, zone 5 the entire way. And I mean, it's just intense. It's my favorite because I like to just jump over the rails, find ways to really smash, go down the stairs kind of reckless. It's a big adrenaline rush for me opposed to the long distance races.
Well, Robert, you did an incredible job. Congrats on the win. Back to you guys.
All right, awesome. And look, he's already recovered. So taking it to the women, I see Orla.
Looks like we have 15 on the start line here. And we've got Heather Golnick, who is actually one of the Masters athletes. She's second from the right in the front line.
But I think her first stadium. So there's Laura Messner. I was on the team Ultimate Team Challenge with her, the Team Comeback Kids. We've got Orla. We've got Heather. I see Cassidy.
So we've got Orla far right, Cassidy's second row. And
I see Alex Walker.
This is going to be an interesting field because we've got some first-time stadium athletes here.
Yep.
All of whom, though, are incredibly experienced in Spartan racing. So that does not mean they can't win, but there is a slight disadvantage.
Here we go. And Heather Golnick's got that similar experience to Robert. All-around monster of an athlete.
And here they go for the hole shot.
Go,
so
here we go for the hole shot. What's going to happen?
Full-on sprint down the grass.
It looks like Orla on the inside. She's looking over to see what's going to happen. Who's going to make that first turn from the outside? From the outside. Boom! Inside.
There's some interaction. We've got it where everyone. Oh, we do have choices.
It looked like Orla.
So that same course, they're going to be winding up the stairs, through the chairs.
Yeah, it looks like Orla's out in front.
Into that other big climb. So you can see it spreading already. That's a pretty fast spread at the start.
Coming up our steps here, let's see. Yep, Orla's right up front. She is ranked first in our Stadium Series for women.
I have a suspicion that some of the more experienced cross-country athletes, the athletes that do the Spartan sprints and beasts out in the real world, they're going to pace it a little differently. I don't know if they necessarily appreciate the intensity of these races and how the differences can stack up really fast.
Yeah, Robert made a good point in terms of the moment the gun goes off in these stadium races, you got to go. No hesitation, no time for let up. It's a constant hammer. Orla's still in front. Everybody's grabbing the rails. Pull, pull, pull.
Yep, good technique. Got to use.
Yep.
It helps to use your arms up here. It's interesting to me when you see the women, quite a lot of them are going to be wearing shorts.
So
I probably wouldn't do that.
Check
and
this
the same
out.
reason is you don't want to get hooked up on any of the obstacles.
Yeah, so think about this, Ian. The guys that just followed the men through that entire course, they're back out following the women through that entire course. Doing all of this footage for us, following these fast women, following these fast men. They're going to do this course twice today, minimally, at a pretty high pace. I mean, that alone is pretty impressive.
So let's see what they do down the stairs. We saw the men who have bigger feet, most of them are going sideways. And I don't think you're going to see that with women. I think what you're going to see is, because they have smaller feet, look at that, straight down. See that, how the feet are facing forwards? That is actually a big advantage, and they can move really fast down these stairs.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know if that's Kelly Sullivan. I don't see Cassidy up there. I see Orla still in first. Oh, making the move on the outside. Making a pass downhill. Good stride. She's opening it up.
These girls are still moving really fast.
Yes, great stride. Hold on.
Same thing with shoe choice here. As we look at what they're doing and how fast they're moving, you're seeing pretty minimal shoes. If you notice, they don't have big, thick soles on them and they don't have big, elevated heels. That's very unstable, especially when you're going up and down stairs. You don't want to have an interference with something between you and the ground. So typically you're seeing not very much between you and the surface that you're on and balancing on.
Yep, first place, still looking at Orla. She's looking good, looking strong.
Now, I do not believe Orla has run this venue last year. I'm not sure in the past. I think she might have been here in 2016. But she is familiar with stadiums. So this is, as we know, it's a good advantage to be able to negotiate all of these little tight turns, the ups and the downs that happen very, very rapidly.
Look, you can see the gap already having taken place. Did you see that second group of the elite women? Already a series of stairs behind, a set of steps behind. She's keeping a good, even pace. That's Orla keeping a strong pace. Following up in second. Also looking strong. Good stride. This is a good place to make up some time.
So the gap in City Field was about 30 seconds between Orla and Cassandra. It's going to be interesting to see pacing, because if that's the case, it looks like that gap has already happened. If it's a 30-second gap now, my guess is either Orla is absolutely on fire, or she's going to slow down later in the race.
So here we go, outside. First time outside into that 90-degree weather. Little bit of cloud coverage out there. There wasn't yesterday, man. It was full sun heat.
Wow,
here we go.
It is not getting cooler out there today, because we're only at 8:15, and I'll guarantee they've got another 5 degrees from this morning.
Orla still in front over the hurdles.
Nice
Good technique. you'll see a couple different techniques there.
It's going to be 3 or 4 people together here as they pick up.
So here's your
very heavy weights.
Yep, our quote-unquote Atlas ball. Carry it over, set it down, do 5 burpees with good form, off the ground, hands above ears. Boom.
So what happens to
3,
happen for a burpee to count? Your feet have to leave the ground,
4,
and your hands have to come to your ears.
Ooh,
that's pretty tight.
That's pretty tight. Look at here comes Cassidy. She started to move her way up, setting it down, moving on.
That is an interesting burpee by Orla, because I'm not sure, because I'm not a judge, but I didn't see her hands going fully up.
Yeah, here she is going under the barbed wire. And you mentioned earlier about how high the barbed wire, relative to what we would typically race outside, that is pretty high.
Yeah,
we have some that'll scrape your back no matter what, even if you're using the roll technique. Don't get your hair caught. You know what I'll do? Sometimes I'll put my hair in my mouth because I have long hair to keep it from getting caught.
That's a great idea.
Rolling through.
We've seen it happen in races, and it is not pretty.
It is not pretty. We've had people run into the barbed wire. Moving through. That's the technique I would use also, the crawl. Uh-oh, we have an injury.
So Sarah is injured right now, and she's on the field with Kevin Donahue.
Rolling in.
Sarah Harrison, she is one of the Spartan Ultimate Team Challenge champions, a super Spartan who loves doing the stadiums and also a crossover fitness star, but she's a little injured today. What happened?
So last week at TMX, I rolled my ankle and I fell off one of the obstacles, so I've been nursing that injury ever since.
So you've been KO'd for today. You can't make it, but you have a great insight into a lot of the other ladies here today. Who do you think are the favorites?
Orla Walsh, Cassidy Wadden, always 2 people to 100% look out for.
Hit that spear.
There's a few other stars out there. What is it? Sullivan, she's out there. Yeah, it's a packed heat. The men's heat was packed. The women's heat absolutely packed as well.
Make that spear. Make that spear.
Now, you've crossed over into Spartan. You've been very successful in the Stadium Series. How far do you think you could take this, and what are some other challenges in Spartan you're looking to take on?
Yeah, I love the Stadium Series. It's so much fun. It's fast-paced. It's adrenaline the whole time. I would like to, I definitely wanted to race today. I'm really bummed I couldn't, but I'm definitely going to do Fenway and, maybe a few other stadium races, but just see where I can go with the stadiums.
Well, you're a fantastic athlete. You've been doing so many other things outside of Spartan. What are some of the things that you like to do that you're pursuing in the future?
TMX was a big fun
no
thing
touch
to do.
The top.
Mostly, I focus
no
on my career a lot, so I just try to fit these in as much as I can.
Smooth.
I just want to be a weekend warrior with this, but I want to take this as far as I can and see where I can go.
There we go. Smooth.
Well, you got a lot of places to go, so good luck to you in the future. Back to you guys.
So we just saw a really interesting something happened on the spear, is that Orla went through clean. It was a great spear throw. But second place, and we're not quite sure who that is now, the spear was stuck in the foam. So the guy who had thrown it in had thrown it so hard, she had trouble extracting the spear from the pad, which is an interesting thing.
Boom.
We also saw a clean run through the Z-wall by Orla.
Here we go, second place. Coming out of the Z-wall, back up the step. Wow, she's got some good, she's moving it up the steps.
Looks like the gap might be about 30 seconds for the top 2 women right now.
Going into that turn.
Still moving really well up the stairs.
Yeah, using the handrails to pull herself along. Good, just smart move to save a little bit of energy.
Really good technique. Starting to use both hands up the stairs. So we're not sure where third is right now. We didn't see all of the spear throw.
Yeah.
But they were together. There was at least 3 athletes coming together out of the spear, which is about a 10 or 15 second spear, depending what happens.
Orla still in front.
Looking comfortable.
Still has a good, even stride. Taking that turn into... And she's got an open course, too. You know, she's not battling with anybody to take lanes right now. She pretty much gets her choice.
And she can see, as she goes up to the top of the stairs, who or if anyone's behind her. So what she saw going up the stairwells was a clean, open space behind her.
It looks like
knows she
Cassidy
has a good lead. And someone with a good lead also has a clean head. That means they're not being stressed by the athletes around them.
Boom, Sandbag.
Orla at this point is thinking, this is my race to lose, so she's going to be pacing herself. And my guess is, as a smart athlete, you saw her look behind her. She knows there's no one much. She keeps looking. Yep, no one there. So she's now pacing a little better. which means that if someone does come up on her, she'll have a little bit in the tank.
But remember, we still got that massively long downhill ramp run where you can make up a lot of time if you're a runner. She's got some good time right now and a good gap. That's Cassidy coming up in third.
So second, third, and fourth are effectively together.
Yes.
I'm not counting out a change for the lead because these things have a habit of throwing something at you that's completely unexpected.
I'm expecting a move. I'm feeling like a move's going to be made by Cassidy here at some point. She's right on the heels of second, and I think only on the heels because trying to find room to pass.
So, Kevin, what do you think Orla's strengths are?
Well, clearly she can run. She's a strong woman. She's got good functional fitness background, so I think she's going to have no problem with any of the coming obstacles. She's proven herself in this capacity. I mean, that's why she's leading the leaderboard in terms of the Stadium Series.
I think you're right about her all-round ability. If you have that kind of CrossFit ability, then you can attack things like the bike and some of these weight things, and you know how to transition between them.
We're getting ready to go down. See what Ryan has to say. Ryan Kent and his man Bun with Kevin Donahue.
All right, I'm here not only with a great athlete,
There's
but a great friend, Ryan Kent, who took second today. Now,
I told you.
Roebuck
I
Killian,
told you.
We're going back and forth on the course, but you're also going back and forth to the smack talk before the race. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, this is sports. This is competition. And, you know, what's that without a little trash talk? And, you know, at the end of the day, we're boys, but once that start line goes off and they send us off, man, it's you know, it's every man for himself. But, you know, we're boys, but trash talking makes it fun.
Always a lot better. Now, listen, you got it on the course, and the fury and the fire didn't end there. You guys went at it and were at each other's heels the entire race. Can you talk about your experience?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, this stadium, this is my first time here. This place is amazing. I mean, it was almost, if you've ever done a mountain sprint, it almost felt like that. I think there was at least 1,500 feet of climbing. It was crazy, man. I mean, I knew within the first 5 minutes that this was going to be a long, long race, and it was, man. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, it was just a good race.
Now, it came down to that last set of obstacles in the gauntlet at the end with the box jumps, getting over that A-frame, and then hitting the assault bike. Do you want to talk about those last couple of obstacles?
Absolutely. First of all, coming out of that, we went through the downhill bungee, and I didn't know how far Killian was ahead. I didn't know if he was 10 seconds or 30 seconds, simply because we were going around the corners. If I would have known he was a little bit closer, I might have could have pushed that a little more. Went really quick through the box jumps, knew I could probably catch him on the airdyne, just kill myself on that, but I freaking forgot to hit the start button and lost probably, you know, 5 calories right there, which I don't know if I would have got him, but it darn sure would have been close. So he got the better of me today.
It just shows in this kind of race, any little mistake could make a huge difference. Now, the biggest question I have, you're in Texas. Where are you eating after this?
I don't know, man. Is it barbecue? Is that the thing down here? Maybe.
It's barbecue and amazing Mexican food, man, so you got your choice.
Right on, man. Appreciate it.
Well, hopefully we can grab some lunch after, but either way, amazing race, and we're back to you guys.
Awesome. So, Kevin, you made some predictions coming up here. What just happened?
Yeah, so right before we went down to Ryan Kent, I said, you know what, I bet you Orla's about Cassidy's about to set herself up for a pass. No sooner did I say that, and within 30 seconds, she found the place to make the pass, moved into second, exactly as I predicted she would.
And as you can imagine, in these tight spaces, the pass had a little bit of interaction. It wasn't ugly, but they were bumping each other. They had their bags over their shoulders, and they passed right through a single track. It was not a double stairwell, and it wasn't 2 lanes. They
There's
actually
that
passed
downhill.
each other together.
Yeah, you know, as Ryan Kent said, you know, everybody's friends. When the race goes off, everybody is fair game. If you got to bump shoulders, if you're running into each other a little bit, it's all just part of the game, especially in this sport. It's bound to happen, especially in tight confines.
So in this relatively long downhill run, this is a place you can recover a bit. You can see her shaking her arms out a little bit. She knows that there's some upper body coming up, and she's letting her legs loose. She's letting her legs fly a little. Heart rate will be dropping until it goes back into a climb. Yep,
recovery, taking the inside line, nice and tight, not wasting any time, any space, room, cutting the tangents, as we would say in road racing, for example. Here comes Cassidy.
Nice stride.
Yeah, looking
stride
strong.
Down there. Look, a good downhill runner. You can always tell a good downhill runner. They let their legs open up. They got a long stride, means good mobility. And this is an interesting discussion for any athlete. The difference between mobility and flexibility. Mobility means how much can you open your legs up. So in these two women are first and second. They're maintaining those positions right now, and both of them have a great ability to run downhill.
Yeah, they're first and second right now. They're first and second in the rankings. So this is going to get interesting because it appears she keeps checking her watch, something I don't typically do in races. Okay, here's Orla coming into the women's hoist.
See the difference with the technique? Lighter body weight. It makes a lot of difference to push on the rail. The men, because they're bigger and heavier, they don't always have to push against the rail. They can often stand up and pull the rope down.
I'd be a little bit surprised if Cassidy has to use that method. She might be able to just stand there and muscle it, especially in dry conditions like this. Sometimes in wet conditions, you'll have to sit down to pull because you just can't get the force on the rope. Cassidy might be able to stand there, which would be a little bit faster than having to sit down and put your foot on the rail, which is legit.
So
all methods are legit, but here we go. Let's see. Dude, what did I say? She's going to stand there and pull it because she's strong enough to do so. Doesn't have to sit all the way down, which is just more time. And yeah, in and out. Boom.
Got a race for second right now. A little bit of daylight up to Orla, but this looks like it's going to be a tight race for at least the second and third.
Exactly the strategy I expected her to do on that hoist. Just because she works in a gym, she's very familiar with CrossFit functionality, functional fitness. She works on hoist. She works on these types of pulls. Some of the athletes, they don't have access to be able to train on some of these types of obstacles in their home gym or at their home. She does. So it was no surprise to see her pretty much being able to stand there and pull that hoist.
Talk a little bit about grip strength, Kevin, because many of these obstacles require grip strength. You've got the rope climb, the Herc hoist, the multi-rigs. If you don't have good grip strength, you're hosed.
You're screwed. Grip strength in almost every single obstacle comes into play, grip strength. The rigs coming up, you got spears, you got to have good grip. You got to have good grip on the ropes. All the carries, especially those farmer carries. I mean, we still have coming up the jerry can carries. Cassidy opening up her stride, looking good. She's looked consistent, had a good pace the whole time. Look at that. Just nice.
Even if you can't see their legs, you can see how well they're running by their arm movement. If they've got a big, wide arm swing her arms nicely, she's moving well. Oh, here we go. Buckling over.
A little bit of power hiking.
But
no stopping.
Pushing
power
on
hiking.
the legs. Good technique. Helps you get your weight up by pushing down on your own knees.
Because there's nobody else in front of her, Ian, or like right behind her, she's taking the inside line as opposed to taking the outside. Because then when things get bunched up, you might find faster would be the inside line. But if there's people bunched up, it could be faster to take the outside line and make a move around them. But she's got an open course. They both do right now. Orla's still in front. Big wall.
Oh.
Can't use the edge.
Fumbled. She had a miss on it.
So on that step, the women have a step they can use, but that's all they can use. They can't use the support system, but you can use the red step. The women can.
That's one of those little things that you think of as an athlete. Her first attempt, although it was only a couple of seconds, she missed it and then had to step back a couple of steps to make a run at it to get the top.
Yeah, so not only do you have a little bit of time lost there, you also have this kind of this little mental glitch where you wonder, oh man, is that indicative of how I feel? I made a mistake there. That kind of stuff, unless you're a strong mental athlete, can eat away at you and affect the later performance of the day as the race continues because you're like, I didn't do that so well. And
yeah, the little voice on your shoulder has a way of getting inside your head sometimes, and some athletes use it to their
Here we're looking at
advantage.
third place. She's looking awesome.
There's another nice stride. She's really opening it up now. I wouldn't be surprised, since her running looks so good, if she can run down second.
I don't know. Cassidy's not letting up. She still looks strong. She doesn't look like she's fading. We saw a couple of the men, you could tell.
Fast down the stairs. Look at that.
They start to fatigue. And you know how you called it earlier? They're not doing as much of the side step because their feet might be a little bit shorter so they can fit it all in the step.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're faster than the men down these. That is some
turn around. She's coming back up. Cassidy's still in second. Third. Oh.
Look at that. It's tight. She's recovered a bit because now she's just running straight up the stairs. That's what a little bit of downhill does for you. Allows your heart rate to drop a little bit. So no longer hands to the knees. She actually ran right up the stairs. I think we're seeing a gap close here between second and third.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just looking at the results, the rankings here.
Yeah, they're not letting up either. If you look at their run cadence, they've got a high cadence, a high turnover.
Yeah, Orla does have a pretty big lead right now. That little
looks super
bit of a small fumble on that wall doesn't look like it's affected her in the slightest.
Well, she might use that to her advantage. Sometimes you can get one of those fumbles and you think, just a reminder, I got to refocus a little bit. Got to make sure that I dial this race in. I'm not going to fumble anything else. If you let it get into your head, it'll be completely the opposite. You see it every now and again, especially at the top level. Someone lets that voice get into their head, they are done.
And you see it happen. I mean, you see that happen to athletes. Sometimes if you're not mentally strong, you can let a little foul up get the best of you. But that didn't happen with Orla. It doesn't appear to be happening. And it's not even like it was that egregious of a... It's just a waste of time to have to approach it and then reapproach it again. That's all. But it wasn't like it's not as devastating as, say, missing a spear throw or falling off the rig and having expended energy on the rig and then still have to do your burpees. Solid. Third place. Looking solid, looking strong. Watching her hair bounces reminded me when I was in grad school. I used to use the ponytail bounce to know my stride. There's Orla. Hands off the ground, push-ups.
Technically correct.
Boom, boom,
Body
boom.
comes off the ground, hands come off the ground.
Just a minimal amount of effort necessary to complete the task.
Very
15 of them, in and out. Everything's 15 except for the Atlas carrier, which is just 5 in terms of burpees. Here we go to the jump rope, 15. And here's the interesting thing about the jump rope. You have to put this elastic band around your feet, which just is an added component. Then do your 15. And let me tell you, swing. Oh, she's doing awesome. Swinging that heavy rope is not easy. Boom, boom.
These ropes are really heavy. Not only are they heavy, because they're heavy, as you start to swing them around.
Cumbersome.
They are very cumbersome. And then the centrifugal force, as you know, when you spin something around in your hand,
second place.
Gets quite big.
And third, so close. Just leaving the push-ups.
Not
Cassidy
using the mat,
was.
which is interesting.
Boom, 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 boom. Boom.
Apparently doesn't mind doing it on the concrete.
But look at the focus.
You can't see it on TV because we don't have smell-o-vision, but those locker rooms smell like locker rooms.
Yeah.
And you get in there and it's stuffy. There's no airflow. So
yeah,
you're coming
it's
out
funky.
of this nice air and you go into this kind of funky air. It's a little bit of it's another challenge.
So here's another interesting thing.
That was a double bounce.
Here's the strategy, the exact strategy I would have used. I would have gone all the way to the end to pick the so I would have run. I'm already in the run stride. I would have continued the run stride just like in a transition area in a triathlon, all the way to the end and pick that last spot. Because my momentum, I'm already in the run. Now Cassidy has to come out of that
and
right
look
into
at the difference there, Kevin. Look how fast, how slow her cadence is compared to Orla.
Yep.
Orla was really fast with the ropes.
Here we go. Orla's getting ready to hit the multi-rig. We can look down, taking a little bit of a breather. Let's see what she goes. She's like, get out of the way.
Now, these women have a much smaller reach than the men, so you often see a different technique.
She switched lanes. I wonder why she switched lanes. Boom, two-hand. Yeah, she's locking off on the 90s. This is the strategy that I posted last night on my Instagram, the way that I like to do it versus kind of the monkey long hang. Boom. Boom. Skip the last baseball. Exactly what smart move. What we did last night, not even necessary. Here she is under the A-frame. Get ready to go the 8-foot wall.
She's thinking, I bobbled the last wall. What am I going to do? Let's see what she does.
Here we go. Second place, Cassidy coming into the multi-rig. So is third place coming into the multi-rig.
It's like all has just exited the stadium, and we've got
Cassidy's using more of the long kind of monkey hang. Yeah, but she's got it.
Now
grab it, bypass it. Boom! Bypassed.
Notice how they use the swing to their advantage. So as they get to the end of the swing, they'll take the next ring or the next ball.
Okay.
Oh, using all the balls.
Yeah, so, which isn't bad. It's just it can be a little bit of a time loss, like fractions of a second, grabbing one of the holds you don't need to grab. If you can swing past it, there's no rule that says you can't swing right past it. As long as you smack that bell, you're good to go.
You saw some of the men would skip the first ring. They would just jump and get the second ring. At the end of a multi-rig, there's a disadvantage apart from the speed of going for the last hold, is your grip strength is fatiguing, and you're adding another possibility to fail.
Good form. That looks like Tiffany.
Nice.
Looks like Tiffany Palmer. So, yep, fourth and fifth going into rolling epic. Second and third relieving rolling epic.
There is some technique involved in rolling epic, because if you go too wide with your hands, you start to swing your legs behind you, and then you start fishtailing, just like in the car, and it's not a good thing because you're losing energy side to side, not straight ahead.
Yeah, that's definitely a momentum breaking obstacle. I mean, you got to come into that in a run and then lay down. People, I don't think, realize sometimes you're asking your heart to make and your legs to make this shift from using these large muscle masses, these legs, to stop laying down on the ground and having to pull yourself.
Not only that, Kevin, is that you're going from dynamic movements to a static movement, which is quite a difficult thing to do. Going into a plank is quite hard, and they're effectively doing a plank, using their arms, but the rest of their body is completely still, or trying to be still. Here we see the crawling up again. The girls are
the
smaller,
bear crawl.
so they can get under lower.
Looks like we're at we're at obstacle 16 of 23. We're going up the low crawl number 2. That means coming up we got slam balls, jerry cans. Then we go into the gauntlet, and we're going to see if anything shifts there. But Orla has had a pretty good lead based on. This is Alex.
It's the double hand technique again.
Yep.
Yep.
Boom. Passing the ball. You notice how many people are bypassing that?
Makes sense.
Ireland, yep.
Those balls are quite difficult. If you have to do it twice and your grip is going,
I mean,
you've just got another chance to fail.
If you can bypass it, you do. She's going to use it. Podium dreams. Can she bypass? Boom. Nope. She got both of them. Okay.
She did get that last ball, but her grip failed her as she got the bell.
She's through, but she's still got more grip. Oh, there's Laura Messner. So I may be looking at, and Laura's taking it. Oh, man. See, I would say that was a questionable strategy choice, just because if you look at the far right wall, that's closer to the exit point. Laura went all the way to the left. Now she's got to come all the way back to the right, which is just an expenditure of energy that wasn't necessary. Here's your first place, Orla still. Little bit slowing down on the run. You can tell the stride shortened up.
So if you look back at the wall choice, it is an interesting choice. If there's someone ahead of you on the wall and they wanted to use the step, then you really have to avoid that person in front of you. So she chose not to go straight up the wall, but wanted to use the step on the far left side.
Heather Golnick. Yeah, but the thing about Ian, though, was the gap between her and the next girl was big enough that girl was over the wall, and that wall would have been free if Laura wanted it. I mean, that's a strategy. You make a calculation, and she didn't think there was enough time. I think there was probably enough time to get over it.
You're probably right. 5-time Ironman winner Heather Golnick.
Yeah, Heather is just all-around stud of an athlete. Has as much experience as any guy or girl down here in terms of racing acumen. She's got a massively good career in CV.
She's also the chairman of USA OCR, the national governing body in the United States.
Making the swing. Is she going to grab that last ball? Oh, she whiffed it! That's what I'm talking about.
That is exactly the problem.
That's you're toast there, because you expended all the energy to get through the rig and whiffed it on the bell. She had already made it. That's heartbreaking, man.
This is what we're talking about risk. You got to weigh up that risk. Do I skip the last ball, or do I risk failing on it?
But she grabbed the last ball, went for the hit, and just simply missed it and whiffed it. And listen, you don't hit that bell, you don't go on. That's a simple fact. And for everybody watching, if you race Spartan races, typically our burpee penalty is 30. In the stadiums, our burpee penalty is 15. Here we come. 29:34 for the women right now. 29:34 into the race. Orla's still up front, taking double steps.
We'll get a chance to see where the other athletes are.
She's jamming.
She is moving through this course.
Taking some single steps now. You can looking back to see where Cassidy is, because I'm assuming Cassidy is still in second.
You can almost see how much she's using the railing now. Legs are fatiguing.
Oh, hunched over.
Lactate building up. Hunched over, pulling on the rail.
It's painful. It's painful.
If you ever do these races, as it gets into the bulk of the athletes, these railings get quite slippery because so many people sweat onto them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, as the race progresses, little things like this will change, sweat or water, because there are 4 water stations in this race people need to understand. So even with the heat, that's pretty good. Essentially, it's 1 a mile. Here we go into a flat spot. Orla still up front. Good stride. Looks comfortable. I mean, she's hurting, but she looks comfortable relative to what's happening right now. The volunteer, yeah.
The stride is shortening up, which generally means she's slowing down and getting fatigued.
So here we go into the slam balls. 15. Let's see what her method is.
And these slam balls are 15 pounds, I believe, not 25.
Boom.
Nice technique.
Boom.
Keeping it in her hands, keeping control of the ball. You don't want to let this thing get away from you because it is a ball, and balls do roll.
Yeah, and she's not allowing, which is fine, but she's not allowing like a huge bounce, for example, which is also an energy zapper. It's like smack.
You can see how much power she's putting into it because her ball is going full arm stretch over her head, so she's pulling it up really fast.
Wait, did we just see a place change?
No, I don't think so. I think we got second place coming in as she goes out.
Yeah, right, but that second place used to be Cassidy. It maybe just be the camera. Orla still dominating right out front. Second and third, both in the, and here comes fourth. Into the slam ball. Black lanes were for men, red lanes are for women. Ball weights are different.
Second, third, and fourth all together.
All together. Let's see who gets out first, although they didn't all go in at the same time.
You can see from this angle, Kevin, how the
boom, second and third heading out together. Uh-oh. There is the first pass. Cassidy getting past.
That's mentally destroying.
It's not over yet, so I think, we still have the gauntlet, so we don't know what's going to happen there.
That is a very difficult thing when you're racing to have someone pass you that well. It's
strong run.
So let's see how she holds up on this.
Yeah, she's not letting up either. Jerry can carry.
So you notice this is a single jerry can. This makes it somewhat, in some respects, a little more
difficult.
That's
interesting.
A lot less weight, but it's very awkward.
Yeah, men had 2, women had 1.
So here's some interesting techniques. You've got the traditional one where you hold it like a bucket in front of you, but holding it behind, I've actually never seen that before.
Well, let me tell you, recently she might have gotten that idea from Ryan Atkins, because recently Ryan Atkins put the bucket behind him.
Here comes Orla. They can see each other. The eyeballs to the top 4 places. They're passing each other. Orla's holding the can sideways. A little bit wider. I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not, but she's got the strength.
There you go. She's suffering. Look at it. She's just gasping for air like a fish.
One thing you can tell, her lips are going a little blue. You know what that means? She's going into oxygen debt. And she's going to oxygen debt. She's gasping. She knows that she can open up a little bit and recover. So she must have a sense that the course is not going to be back-to-back obstacles.
But also, notice she's kept a consistent pace. She didn't stop. She didn't slow. It won't be uncommon as the day goes on. See people start taking stops, rests, which you can do. You can set this down. You can take a stop and rest, but it's a mandatory completion. But if you need to stop, you can. If you need to set it down, you can. None of these women are doing that. They're all just hammering forward.
So, Kevin, you'll know this from Triathlon Transitions.
Here we go, another pass. Uphill pass with the jerry can, moves into second.
Boom. Boom. And they're off.
Comes right out with a strong run stride.
That is a very strong run stride. You'll notice some of these girls coming out of the obstacles have a very short stride, like coming out of a TA in a triathlon, is they had this little shuffle. So I call it the TA shuffle.
I think that was Rachel. Yeah, that's Rachel. So Rachel just moved into second.
Feet, backward. We had 2 different techniques here as well. Face forward, feet forward, and looks like a sideways technique coming up. We're
34-46 into the elite women's. What was the men again? 32 something.
So it's a fairly tight race. We've got the women passing some of the other men in front of them, and only a few obstacles left.
Good job for these guys keeping up with the camera, man. That's a tough gig. Orla's pulling away from them too. She's losing them. Go, dude.
The temperature changes in this race is quite dramatic. When you go in and out of the stairwells and in and out of the doors between the inside and the outside, it's cool in the main stadium. Stairwells are warm, and then it's hot as blazes outside.
Yeah,
so they're doing a shuffle between the two.
You walk into those stairwells, they're like a humidifier. Everybody's hot breath, believe me, it all adds up in there. It makes kind of like a moisture. You can feel the humidity when you enter into those stairwells. It's just that much more suffocating than being out in the open spots. It's something you can absolutely feel the moment you get into the stairwell.
Looks like Orla just left the stairwell and got the other girls coming up behind her. I don't think that gap is compressing. I think Orla is maintaining a lead here.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
So we'll see when they get
But
out
it was
here.
second and third that was getting interesting there. Second, third, fourth, getting interesting.
So
here comes Orla into the gauntlet. So she's going to start with the rope climb. She picks a rope 1, 2, 3, smack. Using the J-hook technique, 3 pulls to get to the top.
Down. She didn't even lower herself down the second half. She just jumped all the way down. She came in at 36.06 into the stadium. So we'll see the gap as the next athlete comes in.
Look at her feet a little bit wider heading into her 15 box jumps. I mean, unless something dramatically wrong happens here. She's
number 2.
She's locked this down.
40-second gap.
Yeah, Rachel coming in.
Not impossible, unlikely.
Unlikely. Let's see. 1, J-hook. 2, J-hook. 3, 4. 4. Still 4. She had to reach. Orla's already on the A-frame cargo net. Which are going into her 15 box jumps.
We've got all the top 4 together on the field right now.
Orla's a strong girl, so she's catching dudes. Catching dudes.
They're all passing the man.
Making the roll down.
They all chose the same box.
Oh, look at this battle. Oh, little slip by Cassidy.
This is quite a race for second.
Yeah, second's going to be brutal.
Orla on the bike. She's on the far right of the bikes.
Orla could chill right now if she wanted to. She's got it that locked down. But she's a competitor.
Yeah, she's not
So she's watching the clock like I would be. Even though you know you got it locked down, my philosophy is you always race through the finish line. Doesn't matter if you have it locked down. The race isn't over. Stuff happens.
That's right, Kevin. And it's not just the obstacles. It's not impossible for someone to take a fall or hit something, and that can affect your race even at the end. Oh, there's some tumbling down the A-frame.
Rachel coming in a second. Getting ready to get on her bike. There's Cassidy. She's taking the strategy of going to a bike closer to the finish. Or she's so strong too. Like she could make it happen right now for second. She's in third. But Cassie is just hammering it.
This is how long 15 calories takes. All are still on the bike. They're all there.
And it's so brutal, too.
It is absolutely brutal.
Boy, that's Laura.
Here's
Looks like Laura Messner up there.
She's running for it now.
There you go.
Here we go.
All Laura guys do is boom, 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 boom,
Through
boom.
the heavy bags.
And your victory. Yeah. 38-55.
Led the whole way.
38-55. Orla Walsh.
Now let's see what happens for second, because we've got all of that second pack together. Oh,
she
here we go.
Spent.
We have third. Second. We have second coming through.
Second. Cassidy.
She made up time.
So,
made up big time.
You realize what that means? That means she made up the time, as I predicted to a degree, on that bike. Look at how much time she made up on second. So Rachel right here went into the bikes in second. Now she came out third. There's your third place.
And that tells you, like you said, Kevin, that tells you a lot about what can happen on the end. That's a very smart course design. If people
There's
go
Rachel
into the bike
coming
together,
in third. Wow, what a change.
Top 3.
So right there, those top 4 women you see, Orla led the entire race, but those 3 women, 2, 3, and 4, they all changed several times. And Cassidy pulled it back from the edge on the assault bike. Kind of what I thought would happen. Orla, Cassidy, Rachel, first, second, and third. Times roughly in the 38-minute range. And look, camaraderie again, man. People cool to each other, nice to each other.
Many athletes who run on the outdoor courses don't know about stadium races, but they are exciting. There's always lead change. You saw it right here. Second, third, and fourth in this race
what
were
a
together
sufferfest.
In the assault bikes, and there were changes at the last obstacle.
That was phenomenal. I mean, that was closer in terms of second, third, and fourth. That was closer than the men's race. I mean, you saw it come down to the assault bike for second.
Looks like fifth
coming in. That is
in.
brutal. Oh, feel the pain. You just want to lay down right here. Awesome.
What a race. Both men's and women's.
Here's Rachel. She got third, was in second. Well done, nevertheless, though, man.
Well, consolidating points. So after the second of
looks
the
like
races,
we're going down to Kevin. Hopefully he's got Orla.
I'm here with our women's champion, Orla Walsh, and our second place, Cassidy Watton.
Yeah.
That was one of the best battles I've ever seen in the Stadium Series. Orla, can you take me through your race?
It was hard as HE double hockey sticks. I guess the idea was, whoa, it's going to be a long race. Should we pace ourselves? And I think 2 races ago, it was a 40-minute race at City Field, so I took it out how I could and held on when I hit the wall going up the stairs. The stairs were brittle.
Humble. Let me take this one for her. She gapped us in the beginning, and she kept the gap the whole time, and she dominated us.
Well, I mean, you may have said she gapped you, but all 4 women were on the assault bike at the same exact time.
I got a little nervous. Like, I got on, I had 10 calories to go, so I was like, okay. But Cassidy closed the gap on the girl that got on before her, so I was like, all right, come on, calories, count down.
And close the gap she did. Cassidy, you were in 4th place coming into the rope. You came over the A-frame cargo net in 2nd place, and then it was just a battle of guts. Take me through those last couple moments.
Yeah, I was actually in 2nd, I think, most of the race, and then they pulled ahead of me at the jug carry, which is shouldn't where they pull ahead of me, but they're a little bit more endurance athletes. Anyway, I knew that we coming into the finishing gauntlet together, and I knew I have a better technique on box jumps, and I knew I could use the most heart on that assault bike. So that's 2 things I think are what caught me up. Yeah.
I mean, it was a pure, guts race. How different was it in this stadium, not only going outside to do a grass outdoor barbed wire crawl, but having that in the spear so early?
It was kind of a game changer. The crawl was cool because some of us shorter than Cassidy, can get through that really fast. And some of the new girls to obstacle racing don't have those techniques like we do. So get your practicing on, girls, but it was fun. It was a heat wave out there, a lot more running than I actually expected. It was hard, but it was fun.
Cassidy, the talent level on the women's side of obstacle course racing in the past 3 or 4 years has gone through the roof. The 2 of you have been pioneers on the women's side. To see both of you here today is pretty special because you've done so much for the sport. Knowing where the sport has been, where do you see the women taking this sport in the next 5 years?
More and more women are honing in on the short courses because we're not all endurance athletes. A lot of us grew up being explosive athletes, so this has gotten so much more competitive. It used to be me, Kate, and Orla every race. Me, Kate, and Orla, and yeah, we miss Kate. But now we know we know these girls are coming like super fast now. So it's getting more populated, but I think we still have a little bit more experience on them, like she said, with the obstacles, with stair running downstairs. But, they're right on our heels, and we're only getting older.
Orla, if there's one thing you could take away from today's race, being now that you are in command of the series championship with 2 wins now going into Fenway in November, what could you take away from this?
Well, I was really training with heavy lifting and not a lot of running, so that's exciting that is playing a good role in my fitness, but I'll be getting on some stairs, maybe some hills now that my heavy lifting is sort of put to the side. So a little more running, my endurance hit the wall. I saw other people walking up the stairs, but I was struggling. So a little bit of work needs to go into the running endurance.
Well, as someone who's watched sports my whole life, it's great to see that two pioneers of the sport are still holding off all the new guns that are coming in. And these two ladies have been here since the beginning. They're here now, and I don't see them going anywhere in the future. Back to you guys.
Fantastic words. You know, Cassidy said something that was interesting, which is very true. As this sport progresses, every year you see more and more legitimate talent coming into the sport. Early on in the years, same people over and over and over. Now you never know who's going to show up. So, phenomenal. Phenomenal finish in the women's. We had a close race. Close race coming down to second being coming down to that assault bike brutal. Cassidy made a good mention here at the end of the race talking about the level of the competition going up, up, up in this sport.
Well, that's right, Kevin. So this was an amazing race. We saw the men's race was really tight. The runners really let it out. We saw it with both Roebuck Killian in the men. He really solid in the run, keeping all the other pieces together, didn't really see any bobbles. Clean race, wonderful race, and it showed at the finish. Same in the women. We saw Ola dominate from the start. An amazing runner, great skills, techniques, knows this course well, or at least knows the venue well, so knowing how to anticipate all of this stuff. What would you say about the tight finish in the women? That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, that women's finish was phenomenal. You know, Orla had it locked down pretty much from the beginning, but coming down into second and third, came down to the assault bike, which is the devil's bike. It is brutal if you haven't done an assault bike, but really that's kind of where I predicted if Cassidy was going to make a move, that was where it would have to be because she has the prowess there, she has the strength there, she has the experience there. Sure enough, she made it happen. So it was a big spoiler for second and third because she didn't go into that in second, but she came out in second.
That's right. In the men, with Killian being such a great all-round athlete. Unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable. Killian. So here's our final rankings. Roebuck Killian in first, 32-13. Ryan Kent right behind him, 32-24. Bracken third and 33-16. Ryan Kent. Whoa, that's not right. That's not right. Fourth is, they've got Ryan twice. So fifth was Isaiah Vidal at 34.05. Fourth might have been Kempson.
Yeah, 11 seconds between first and second. That is a tight race in any race. So seeing these lead changes, Killian holding on, being a solid, experienced athlete. Didn't see him get mentally put out by the other guys. A little bit of smack talk before the race. Great stuff to see. They're friendly. They love it. But this is what you typically see in these races. Is they're going to push it hard, and they're going to use the mental thing all the way to the end.
The smack talk of just part of the game. As long as there's camaraderie afterwards, it's all good. It's just the nature of the beast. For anybody, you should come out, do one of these races. If you haven't done one, just get off the couch. You'll know at the finish line.
So next weekend, we've got the U.S. National Series coming up in Chicago. It's going to be fantastic.
I'll be racing
if anyone's in that area or wants to come out, it's going to be a really, really cool race. And you're racing, Kevin, yeah?
Yeah, so I'm racing all of the U.S. National Series. So next week is our fourth race. So we have Chicago. So I'll be out there, not announcing, but I'll be racing because I'm doing the whole series, trying to lock down a top age group slot.
So total wrap-up for these races, it was tight, as you can kind of expect for some of these tight courses, fairly short, 3.6 miles, a lot of obstacles, fairly closely spaced together. Makes for interesting racing, a lot different from the outdoor races, a lot of tight turns, opportunities to pass. We see the hole shots, we see the very fast racing to get to them. And then if a good athlete can be solid like Killian and Ola Walsh showed in this race, they hold that lead all the way through the finish. But, as we also saw with the women, amazing changes at the end.
Yeah, amazing races, and I hope everybody gets a chance to come out and do one of these obstacle course races, Spartan race. They're awesome, and I'll be seeing you guys in Chicago.
Sounds
Looking forward to it.
Stadium Series is kind of its own entity here. I don't think there's anything like it out there. gut-wrenching obstacles back to back to back.
We get to go run in places that people dream of coming, and we get to be on the field, which is just so super cool.
Run around here like the pros do for a day. This is sweet.
It was amazing.
It was a hell of a race, man.
What a better place to do a sprint.
Exactly.
You can do so much more than you think you can.
Never quit, never give up.
That's right.
Get off the couch and have some fun. Let's go.